Hello guys, it's Dr. Newell and we are going to get started with multiplying whole numbers by fractions. All right, so let's get started. I'm going to start out with this example that I already have on the screen, 2 times 1/3, right? And so I have two groups of 1/3, which I drew out right here. Here's one group of 1/3 and here's another group of 1/3. Now, my parts are still divided into thirds, so that is my denominator. And how many do I have shaded in? I have a total of 2 shaded in. So, two groups of 1/3, or 2 times 1/3, equals 2/3. Now, for those of you who say, Doc, that's nice with your little drawing, but I just want to see numbers, here you go. If I am multiplying a whole number by a fraction, it is already implied that my whole number sits on top of a denominator of 1. Okay, a whole number as a fraction is that number over 1. And then the only thing else you have to do is multiply across. So 2 times 1 is 2, and 1 times 3 is 3. My fraction is 2/3. Now, let's just take a moment. You pause if you need to. I'm going to go ahead and clear my screen. And then we are going to get into some problems that may be a little bit more complicated than just that. Okay. So here is our, all right, I'm sorry, I had to take a moment, but here is our next problem, 3 times 4/5. And so when I rewrite 3 times 4/5, I am going to write my whole number as a fraction, as you see here, and it will become 3 over 1. And then I will put times 4/5, and I'm going to just multiply across. So 3 times 4 is 12. 1 times 5 is 5. Now, what do we see here? What kind of fraction is this? If you said improper fraction, you are correct. We do not want to leave our answer as an improper fraction. Instead, we want to go ahead and convert it. Usually, if it's an improper fraction, what you're going to end up turning it into is a mixed fraction, or as some people call it, a mixed number. And the way we do that is I think about my numerator, and I see my numerator is 12. And then I think about my 5. Now, remember, this fraction bar right here, let me get this here. This fraction bar means to divide. This fraction bar right here, it means divide, right? So if it is telling me to divide, I am going to divide 12 by 5. How many 5s go into 12 without going over? There are 2. And then when I subtract the product of 5 times 2 from 12, I am left with 2. And so my 2 is less than my 5, so I'm in good company here. I am going to have a new fraction, and my new fraction is going to be 2 and 2/5. Okay, and so this is my answer. So 3 times 4/5 equals 2 and 2/5. Now, if I drew this out, I would also be able to tell this through my model. Let's go ahead, and I'm going to pause you for a second so I can clear my screen, and I'll show you that. All right, so we're back, and now I have 3 groups of, and I'm just going to shade in my 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. So I'm getting ready to have 3 groups of 4/5 here. Okay. Now that I have that shaded in, what I'm going to do is I am going to group them. All right. Because what I want to do is to be able to make whole groups of um, fifths, of 5/5, right? So what I'm getting ready to do is I'm going to take, so to speak, this one here and bring it up here, right? So when I do that, I can erase it from here. Okay. My line back. All right. And then the next step would be to fill in my this one here. So I'm gonna in essence, I'm gonna take this one and shade this one in here. Okay, so then I'm going to come back down here. If I had used a different program, it would have been a lot easier to show, but I'm going to erase that. Now let's take a look at what we have. So now I have 3 groups of 4/5 that I am filling in to make sure all of my models are completely filled in. And when I do that, I am left with 2 full models, right? And what is this fraction down here? 2/5. Okay, so one way to multiply a whole number by a fraction is to draw it out, remembering that your whole number is telling you how many groups of your fraction you have. And then if you want to, you can just take and fill in the empty spaces that you have until you have filled it up, and that will be your answer. So I have 2 and 2/5. All right. If you need to, just go back and rewatch the video. Okay. I'm going to pause you again, and then I'm going to come back and I am going to do a different problem to see if maybe we have to do any other type of simplifying. All right, so we're back, and our next whole number by fraction multiplication problem is 2/1 times 1/4. Remember, 2, any whole number, when you put it over 1, it becomes that fraction that you need. And so again, we can simply multiply across. And when we multiply across, we get 2/4. Now, remember, our goal whenever we are working with fractions is to keep them in simplest form. So I want to show you something that you can do within your work of your problem to go ahead and help you have it in simplest form by the time you get to your product, right? So here I have 2/1 and 1/4. And what we're going to do is we're going to just take a look at our numerator and our denominator so that we can, some people call this, they call so many different things when they see this, but they think about a butterfly. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going diagonal with our numerator and our denominator, and we're going to see if we can simplify those. So when I look within my lime green color, I have a 2 and a 4. And I know that 2/4 can be simplified because 2/4, if I draw it out, is the same as 1/2. So, and if you're a little confused, here is 2/4 up here, right? But it's the same as 1/2. So I know that 2 is 1/2 of 4. So here's my new problem, 1/1 times 1/2. And now, when I look at my numerator and my denominator across from each other, they cannot be simplified anymore. If I had that 1 on top of that 1, it'd just be 1. And if I had that 1 as my numerator and this 2 as my denominator, it would simply be 1/2. So I'm going to multiply across now. Now I have 1/2. Okay. And so if I just go with multiplying straight across, the likelihood of me having to simplify is great. Okay. We will do a whole nother video. I think you guys, if you needed to understand how to simplify, you've already watched that video. But this is one way you can simplify within multiplying your fraction. Ciao for now.